We have a lot of upset running backs, Mike Harmon. They're
still salty,
very, very
and now
upset.
they're forming a
now they're uniting in
group text format.
Hey, no one's getting paid. We got to do something about this.
That's where you get stuff done, is in the group text.
Yeah.
Are you mad about your contract? Yes.
Hey.
And here's a flaming dumpster emoji to let you know all about it.
Hey, do me a favor. Can you loop Dalvin Cook in on this? How do I do that? I don't know how. You just got to go to where the thing, hit the I for information, hit the add a person, add Dalvin. Here's his number.
We can't add him because if he signs a deal, we're going to have to remove him, and that's a lot harder.
It was yesterday that we found out Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, 3 of the best running backs in the NFL, all get franchise tagged. They could not come to terms on a new deal with their team, so they will play this year under the franchise tag. Saquon Barkley already said he's holding out, and many other running backs picked up the cause, very upset that this is what's happening. Jonathan Taylor tweeting out, wow, I can't believe it. Derrick Henry saying, why would you teach any kid to be a running back anymore? Now all these running backs,
he's not wrong.
They have all masked together now, and it's like, now the revenge of the running back is happening. So what have they done so far? They have found targets on social media they're very upset about, saying, don't call me replaceable. You better not call me replaceable. Look.
And then they put a picture of Austin Eckler up or Isaiah Pacheco and say, hey, undrafted 7th-round guys, here are 2 of your highly heralded running backs for 2023.
Dude, here's the thing is that I can put everything in perspective and help the running backs, all the upset running back, whether it's Barkley or everybody else right now.
Of course you can, because it's all your fault.
That's not my fault. Not my fault.
Oh, you can blame me.
No.
Me and Blake.
No.
All your fault.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
No, we didn't give bad advice to Melvin Gordon. We gave him the right advice. He just chose not to take it, and then he got mad at us.
Downfall of the position.
It was his fault.
It might have been.
Between him and Lev Bell and these guys deciding, hey, I'm going to take a year off. And Lev Bell still got a big contract. You're never getting that $15 million that you walked away from back, and it really started to spiral from there. But it's been coming for a while. And by the way, the top guys are still getting $10 million.
Yeah, look, here's what I want to say to all the running backs. This has been the biggest story the last 24 hours, how upset they are, and they want to find a way. They want to try to find a way to figure out how they can get more money, and it's not my fault. I told Melvin Gordon, dude, he got mad at me on social media. Okay, look where we're at. Sometimes it's difficult to love something that doesn't love you back, because that's where all these NFL running backs are right now. And it happens to everybody, unfortunately, in whatever they do for a living. Sometimes you just love a job, and for whatever reason, it doesn't love you back. And it's very difficult, because you could love doing what you do. You love doing where you're doing it, and the job doesn't love you back. It happens. It happened to me at ESPN when I was there. I loved doing what I was doing. Job didn't love me back. So what was I going to do? You have to figure out and get right with it and go on to what's next. And that's what all the running backs have to do right now. You have to understand that, okay, you love this game. You've been a running back your whole life, all of these things. And understand that being offered $10 million for 1 year of work is pretty good, okay? No one's saying you got to play for the league minimum. You're making $10 million this year. You get franchised again, you're making $13 million. What if you get hurt? It's tackle football. That's the same thing for everybody, right? Everybody else. Nobody was walking around a few years ago saying, right guards aren't getting paid. We have to make sure we stand up for the guards. No, sometimes you love a job that doesn't love you back. And right now we are at a part of the National Football League, in the National Football League timeline, where running backs are unfortunately very replaceable. That you can have a guy be great for his first contract. Do you want to get on the hook with a guy for the rest of the rest of another second contract? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but inevitably you want out of it when a guy hits 27, 28 years old. You have seen the top of the line of running backs be unable to get new deals. Austin Eckler should be able to get a big new deal. Guess what? He can't. Right? Dalvin Cook should be able to get a pretty good deal for a couple of years. Guess what? He can't. No matter where you are, running backs, it's difficult. And you have to get right with that. This is where you're at in the game. And understand that you're not going to get incredibly over-the-top rich like running backs did a few years ago when they were signing 7-year, $70 million contracts, because that was what that was who the game was built around. The game's built around quarterbacks now. And I'm sorry you play a position that has been devalued by the NFL. But for a long, like I said, right guards were devalued, centers were devalued for a long time. No one wanted to pay defensive tackles for a long time. Inside linebackers didn't get paid. No one wanted to pay these positions, but as time has gone on, you have gone in and out of eras of players getting paid. This is simply what it is for running backs. It sucks. I'm sorry, but you got to get right with this and say, okay, how do we go forward? Can we find a way to make the pie a little bit bigger where running backs need to make more money? But you have to find some way to say, what's next now? Because this is not going to change. You're not going to change any NFL team's minds about paying anybody. You have to figure out, what do we do next? Because this is where we're at. If you're so upset about being running back, don't play.
Well, but that's the thing, right? Your summary statement is there. This is a monopoly. Okay, you can go play in these other leagues. You can go try another sport. You're a running back in the National Football League. As we talked about a little bit yesterday when we were in for Covino and Rich, you had tight ends trying to say, hey, I'm basically a wide receiver. I do some blocking, but I'm a wide receiver. And what'd they say? Beat it. In your CBA, you had this mechanism put in place for the franchise tag, the average of the top 5 salaries. Guess what? If we're talking about you making $10 million, you're being paid as one of the top 5 backs in the game. So the way it is metered out, that is it, right? You want to get rid of those franchise tags? Maybe there's a little bit that changes in terms of salary structure, but that's a pretty big give back to ownership if you want to go down that road. Right now, you start to unravel a lot of your other negotiations and probably weaken your points in others. And nobody, look, we loved our 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You and I grew up in that era. I'll watch videos of Earl Campbell and Walter Payton and Barry Sanders till I'm blue in the face. But that's not the NFL we're in now. You've got multiple teams with 2 to 3 running backs getting the job done. A lot of guys like Eckler and others, yeah, they catch a lot of passes. But you know what? You're still a running back. You're not a slot receiver. That's not being realigned. This is not the King of Queens episode where Doug claims he's going to go work for FedEx, right? If I don't get that zone, I'm going to go leave. Look, well, what do you want me to do, Doug? Here's what I'll do. I'll rename that zone Zone 13 for you. Or Zone 1, whichever he was trying to go one to the other, right? He wanted the light packages with the beautiful housewives as opposed to driving miles to nowhere to warehouses and stuff. And so he wanted the plum thing. So what did the boss do? He said, we'll rename it. Yeah, you don't want to be called a running back anymore. You can do it. It's not changing anything. That's still your function on a football field. Like we talked about, all of these things you can change. All of these things you can stipulate to. At the end of the day, you're still a running back. You want to hold out? You're now a year older, and you're still a running back.